This video is just a quick introduction to the site that we're going to be using for the rest of the semester, and it's an introduction to it on Google Maps, showing you where it is, but also the site file which we're going to give you, which is a 3DM file. Later in the class we're going to be going into Rhino, but we're going to be using the same, into Revit, but we're going to be using the same site model and importing it into your Revit project, so you can turn it on and off easily. So this is campus, the UT Tower is right here. If we go to a satellite, you can see that's where it is. If you're on Google Maps, by the way, and you're on satellite, this is sort of the default view most of the time. Just make sure if you want to see the site in 3D, we need to enable the globe view, or you can go to earth.google or google.earth.com or something like that. But our site's down here. Looking south on Congress, it's right where Congress ends and dives into the Capitol, and then it's the division between East and West 11th. So we're at this corner here. And I would recommend going into Maps and taking a look at it if you can't get down there, at least in the first week of class. Maybe take a walk through the Capitol if it's still open. If not, then just go ahead and take a look at it on Google Maps. One of the main differences you'll see on our site model is that we've created an alleyway here. So this is a little outbuilding that we've sort of torn down, and we're assuming that this can be moved back a little bit so that we can continue this alley. And this alley goes basically down to the river. So we wanted to include that. This is one of your starting views. So if we jump over here, if you jump into the project, this corner of Congress and 11th is essentially where the Rhino model opens up. And I've saved a view for you, the northwest corner. But if we zoom out here, you can see that this is Congress, and it extends basically to 7th Street, so 4 or 5 blocks, and then up to 15th Street. Where the Capitol essentially ends. And this is not a very busy area. There's a lot of parking garages over there, but this tends to be quite a fairly high trafficked area because of the Capitol, but also because of Congress. So the site itself is about 120 feet. If you use a dimension command, DIM is the shortcut, it's 121.5. And let's see how long it is. It's 163. So those are the exact dimensions, but usually when you're sketching you can estimate to 160 by 120. It's a nice dimension because these are sort of generalized setbacks based on the buildings next to it, and that's fairly common to use the setbacks from the buildings that neighbor it in an urban environment. You have an alley going on the east-west. On the south side of the lot runs east-west, and then we have this new alley that I mentioned that runs north-south on the east side of the lot. The site file itself can be broken into 2 contexts. So if you go to your layers here, I have a context layer with a near and a far sublayer. The context is locked, so you can't select anything on it. The only thing that's selectable and not locked is the boundary layer. It's under the site category. The lot itself, if we unlock that, you can see that includes the curb. So if you are going to be doing some demo work on that, building down, for instance, you might need to modify that layer. But you can turn the far context off if your machine doesn't run very, very well with Rhino. It's not a new and updated machine. But that allows you to have just the Capitol in one block on either side of the lot. So you can go in and out of that. There's also a view I've given you that's called Northwest Corner Parallel. So this is a parallel line viewport. So if you're going to do diagrams, this might be a good starting point. It's an isometric view. So that means if we draw a line here, this will be 30 degrees, this will be 30 degrees, and this is 120 degrees. So everything has a measurable dimension to it. You can measure all of the dimensions. It's a very particular type of parallel line drawing. It's a type of oblique drawing that you might want to read about in architectural graphics, but you just have to keep in mind that it is a parallel line view. So let's go back to the corner view here, and that's essentially it for the site.